The Louisiana Monroe Warhawks 48-14. Can Hugh Freeze and the boys build off of this victory and gain some momentum going into the last two games of the season? Let's talk about it on this live edition of the Uptempo Podcast. Yes, sir, Uptempo gang, Auburn family. A rare Monday night appearance for us here on the Uptempo Podcast, man. I hope everybody's out there is having a nice start to their week. We apologize for missing yesterday. Life gets busy sometimes. Blake, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Wasn't feeling it yesterday. Y'all, I'm sorry. I apologize. My dog Buddy was taken, and I ended up having to go Saturday night without him. And my daughter was a disaster. My wife was a disaster, and we had to spend the night without him. And Sunday morning, I woke up at 6 a.m. and I found the neighborhood that he was in and he was taken to through social media. So shout out to the power of Facebook and social media in today's time. And I went up and down and searched that neighborhood and finally found my dog. So, yeah, it was tough yesterday. Yeah, it's super tough, man. The emotions were high when I found him, and it was a tough weekend. So that's what I did my whole entire weekend, and this happened during the halftime of the Auburn game. So it was really, really difficult for me and my family, but I apologize. I'm glad to be here. War damn Eagle. We're not getting on a downer. We're getting on an upper because we're going to the freaking moon tonight, baby. Hey, them Auburn Tigers showed up and showed out. Cam Coleman did his thing. Keandre Lambert-Smith, man, you will be remembered forever in Auburn, Alabama. So grateful for those two guys. And the third one, Dustin, I can't leave him out. He's the Auburn man, the guy that has done so much for this program, the guy that never transferred, the guy that has 1,000-yard rushing season under his belt. And I'm so damn proud of him, and that is Jarquez Hunter, man. Just an absolute workhorse, 100-yard game. Just so proud of him and what he's done for this team and this program, and to help recruiting to let these young cats know, hey, Auburn can still produce at the running back position. It ain't slowed up. We're still there. So shout out to those three guys and the entire team, Dustin. I thought we played great. It was clean. There was no setbacks or anything. It was a fun day.
Yeah, I mean it's just like you put out on Twitter. It's just nice to get a dub. It's just nice to have positive conversations. And yes, we talked about it in the preview show. You're supposed to do that versus Louisiana Monroe, but the alternative would have been bad. And I'm glad that it didn't go that route. We got to see the young Walker White make his debut. Cam Coleman has his first 100-yard game. Jarquez getting over 1,000. So a fun day. I think my big takeaway, Blake, from the game is I want to see the up-tempo offense the last two games.
Yeah.
I understand why you try to dial it back. I get it. You were turning the ball over left and right and all that kind of stuff. I think this defense is at the point to where you can trust them if the up-tempo style leads to a couple extra possessions for those guys. Maybe earlier in the year when they were young and trying to find their way. That maybe didn't sit well, that didn't match up because you got a complementary football type thing. But I think now the defense is playing well enough to where you can do that, and I just think the offense looks better, looks more explosive when you do that. And again, I get why you dialed it back. There were times where I was screaming, hey, let's just slow this thing down, take the air out the ball, and run Jarquez and try to get out of here with dubs. And there's a couple times where we came really close to that working. It almost worked for us Oklahoma. It almost worked for us Missouri. But as we sit here now at 4-6, just go up tempo versus A&M and throw the ball and run it. So I'm saying just open your offense up because you got 2 games left. What does it matter? You're not going to be favored in any. either one of them. Now I'm definitely shocked at the opening line this weekend, but I'm not surprised by it because no one's going to be surprised if Auburn's in a close game late in the
Yeah.
third quarter, start of the fourth quarter with A&M, especially at home. Like I actually I actually expect that, and I caught myself thinking some things today that I had to stop myself from thinking. I was like, no, don't you go down that road again, Dawson. Don't you go down there. I know, but man, so just that's what I want to see Blake moving forward. And you touched on it, and I just want to really kind of show some love here for a second, man. Jarquez Hunter gets to 1,000 yards on the season right now. He's sitting at 1,015 with 2 games left. And like you said, Blake, this is a kid that could have transferred. We know some programs were really, really hard on him these last couple of years after the season had ended. I think Charlie Five talked Sunday night about how Ole Miss was really trying to get him to come home and play for the home state program after Quinshon Judkins went up to Ohio State and all that. And yeah, I mean, think about if he would have done that. Where would Ole Miss be? He'd definitely be on a playoff caliber type team. This is an Auburn man that stuck it out for Auburn through the tough times. And similar to what we said about Jalen Simpson last year, when Auburn gets right and when Auburn is winning games again, I will not forget Jarquez Hunter. 4 straight years, losing seasons. You know, he's never beat Georgia. Most likely never going to beat Alabama. Like, it's been a bad time. He's been a running back in Auburn's worst 4 year stretch ever, or at least since 1920 something. But I really appreciate him, man. The effort that he's continued to put in, just the joy. He went in for that one carry, got over 100 yards, and he was so happy just coming off the field. The Auburn social media team putting the video out of him getting the game ball. You see the picture right there, and giving the speech in the locker room. This is just a guy that deserves it. And he's going to go down as one of the all-time great running backs at a school that is known as RBU. So I just can't say enough about the character of this young man, and just a guy that loves playing football. This is just a football player, and I just wish Blake that he had been on better teams and he had got the shine that he deserves. But the real ones always going to remember that Jarquez Hunter is an absolute dog and one of the best to ever run the rock for Auburn University, and that's a hell of an accomplishment.
Man, watching Jarquez do it, it was something that we thought would get done last year, and he had to sit the game out and all that, and it took him a minute to get back up to game speed last year. But this year, you really felt like Jarquez was going to be that workhorse, man, that guy that you leaned on to really win football games. And we got away from that. I feel like this should have come a couple games ago because we got away from our bread and butter earlier in the season. We got away from the guy that we should have leaned on. I'm thankful that he did get to 1,000 yards and he's had this success at Auburn. And I'll be honest with you, man. I'm gonna tell Levi about Jarquez Hunter one day. When Levi gets old enough, he will know Jarquez Hunter, and he will watch highlights on YouTube of Jarquez Hunter and his time at Auburn. That's how much Jarquez means to me. I'm sure that's how much Jarquez means to you Auburn fans. I know that it means a lot to me because in the day and age that we live in, where these guys just up and they're out. They're even middle of the season, man. They're like, oh, who can portal? Who's portaling? What quarterback are we looking at next year? We don't know. It's in the middle of the season. There's still 2 games left, and we're just immediately, oh, who are we getting out of the portal? Is Perry leaving? Is Cam leaving? And Jarquez chose to stay, y'all. He chose to stay. Jarquez knew we weren't winning a national championship this year. Right? I mean, Jarquez knew that.
I think so.
But there were schools that, hey, they like Dustin said, Ole Miss was wanting him. And Ole Miss was sitting here, hey, this is the greatest roster we've ever had. We're going to the college football playoff. They beat Georgia. Jarquez could have been a part of that. But he chose to stay at Auburn and be an Auburn man, and this fan base love him. He continues to work hard. He will play in the NFL. I'm damn proud of 27, Dustin. I just can't thank him enough, man. Like it when you're going through a season that we've went through, at least you have a Jarquez Hunter to hang your hat on and say, "Hey, thanks, man. Like you brought some happiness out of this season." And then that's the same way I feel about like KLS, man. It's like even though you're a transfer here, this is your last year, bro. You gave me something to look back on 5 years from now and be like, you know what? We did go 4-8 or 5-7. But man, that KLS was a dog, bro. Like that KLS, that dude ain't never got to worry about anything in Auburn, Alabama anymore. His 1 year, that's all we needed to love him because he's always welcome back. And, you know, as bad as it's been this year and as down as it's been, and we felt like, you know, we're the laughing stock of the SEC at times and we're not winning the games that we should be winning, having a game like this where you just win one and your guys are successful and they're putting up their numbers, it feels good towards the end of the season. And I'm just saying, you get a little momentum going into A&M, and it's a night game. We know how much we love night games in Jordan-Hare. We know how much we have complained about night games not being in Jordan-Hare. Well, guess what? You get a night game in Jordan-Hare. So show your tail up, get loud, support this team, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk more about it Thursday, but man, I'm telling you what the process that I'm gonna go through this week is it's dangerous. It's dangerous. I already know where my brain's going, but man, this program needs a big win. This program needs a big win. It would go a long way. Blake, I'm gonna pull this up right here, and there's one thing that just really, really stands out. I'm looking at the stats from the game Saturday. How about those penalties?
Mm.
How about those penalties, Blake? Now, you know, you can play Louisiana Monroe, and you can say, oh, well, it's a Sun Belt team. They've lost 4 games in a row, and all that could be true. But Auburn's toughest opponent this year has been Auburn. I mean, that's been the hardest person on Auburn's schedule every week is the Auburn Tigers. 0 penalties, man. That's nice, clean, efficient football right there. 12 of 17 on third down. Not bad. Not bad. But Blake, just speak on the 0 penalties. And really, I think it was Justin Hoganson that put a tweet out earlier today, just kind of talking about how Auburn is, as the season's gone on, has become one of the more disciplined teams in the country. And I guess, yet again, that's just another stat you could point to that probably makes you think, how in the hell are we 4-6? But clean game, man.
Look, to that, Dustin, I have no idea the 4-6, man. Like I just, it's head scratching.
It is.
I just sit back and think, we're so much better. I think I texted you Saturday and I was like, dude, we're so much better than this. Like,
Yeah, second quarter.
yeah, we're so much better than our record. It's not even close. I don't get it. But we're in this situation because we wanted to turn the ball over and we wanted to play not so clean football. And this past Saturday, you see what happens when you get clean football. You know, it's fumbles lost right there. 1. Guess what? Guess who it was by? All right. It was Walker.
Yeah, true freshman.
First action of the year, true freshman. Hey, I'm okay with it. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the offensive line every week. I'm impressed of you didn't have a PI, you didn't have a defensive holding, you didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. It was clean. Everything was clean. And that's why on Twitter I said, man, it just felt good to win one. And the whole entire thread was and clean too. No penalties. That's how you win games. I tell you this. So the other night, Georgia and Tennessee are playing. What were some things that hampered Tennessee in that game?
Kept shooting themselves in the foot.
They'd take 2 steps forward and then bang, 5 steps back. Shoot yourselves in the foot with false starts. I know it gets loud, but false starts, holdings, defensive PIs, you can't do it. I tell you, when I saw the other night is I saw it a couple times actually. Legal man downfield. You know, it just Tennessee just couldn't get out of their own way, and that's how you lose games. It's how you lose games. Everybody was bashing Georgia these last 2 weeks, man. But Georgia's lost it. Kirby's lost it. It's over at Georgia. It's over there. They're not even going to make the playoffs. And then what Georgia do, Dustin? They come out and they said, "Hey, calm down. We got this. Calm down." All right. With Auburn, man, this team could have packed it in.
Yeah.
This team could have said, "Hey, look, screw this season. New Mexico State from last year, it could happen again. Oh, well, it's over. We're not going to a bowl game. Pavia beat us again." They could have packed it all in. Instead, they chose to bow their necks. They chose to come out, play clean football, play hard, play exciting. They had fun doing it. And they did it, man. I can't say enough about how they responded. The defense, man. Riddick just flying around, just being a dog all year since he got on the field. Hugh Freeze talked about that and said we changed as a defense when he started getting on the field. Things changed for DJ Durkin. I'm impressed with where we're going with these young cats. And seeing these guys come in on the offensive line and get snaps and it be that clean. We just got a couple things that we got to clean up, y'all. We get those things cleaned up and we can be okay. Yeah. And we know one of the big problems. All right? We know one of the big problems and we know some other things. But this team could have packed it in and they didn't. And so that's why I expect something to happen Saturday is our fan base show up once again for a team who's under 500. It's at night. They're gonna be loud. They're gonna pack Jordan Hare. It's gonna feel a whole lot like that 2022 feeling where you're trying to fight for something, man. You're trying to push through a difficult season. Are these guys going to show up? I think they are, Dustin. I think they're playing with a little swagger. Halt the Cam Coleman stuff. You find a way to get him the ball. Looks like he's having fun. Me personally, I could be way off on this. I could be so wrong. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't. I don't think he come to Auburn to play with Peyton Thorne, Dustin. And so I don't want to just immediately say, "Oh, well, he's gone," or Perry's gone. I think you give it one more year, man. I really do. But as far as the cleanness of this game and these guys still battling, I'm damn proud of these dudes, man. You go out and you covered the spread, Dustin, where people, hey, Auburn's only a 24-point favorite against Louisiana Monroe. Like, no way they cover that. I mean, people were telling you to take Louisiana Monroe in the points all week.
Yeah,
Bang,
I was.
Auburn covered. Yeah, look, it's really hard for me to bet on Auburn. I don't like doing it. But the more I looked at their offense and I looked at our defense, I said, "Hey, bro, they're not scoring.
Yeah.
They're not." And so I kept telling people, I was like, "Man, I think Auburn covers. I do. I think they cover." So they did that, and I'm proud of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you make a really good point about this team is still playing hard,
Yep.
and that's a credit to Hugh Freeze. I mean, that's a reflection on the head coach, and you see some teams at this point in the year that have mailed it in. We've seen Auburn teams in the past that had nothing to play for, quote unquote, as the season was coming to an end, and they mailed it in. You're seeing this young group of guys. You mentioned DeMarcus Riddick. He's just so fun to watch, man. And you know why you didn't see any Jalen Crawford? He was out there. That's how I like my corners, Blake. I like to forget my corners are even on the field. That's how I like them. So hell of a day from him. He's been so much fun to watch, just putting the clamps down. My buddy texted me and said, "You're bleeding." I know. We got a stray cat. We got a stray cat outside that we've been feeding. He's got a tick on his chest. and I tried to get that tick off right before the show started, and he got me pretty good. So yeah, I am bleeding all over my desk here. I thought I had it cleaned up, but appreciate you to my best friend who just texted me and said, "Hey, idiot, you're bleeding on the camera." I do know that. um, I do know. Yeah, Blake. Let's talk. You mentioned it. Let's talk about Cam Coleman real quick, and then we're gonna get to some of these comments here. Had to kind of make a graphic for this catch because it's one of the more ridiculous catches we've ever seen as Auburn fans. 3 touchdowns, 8 receptions, 100 yards on the day. Definitely from the get go. Felt like get 8 the ball was part of the game plan, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was going to be part of the game plan for the remaining 2 games. And Hugh's been open about having to re-recruit his roster and everything like that. And I'm sure Cam Coleman is getting phone calls from other teams saying, "Hey, man, come on down. We got a spot for you. You won't have to worry about not getting the ball thrown to you here and all that." So it's very, very critical from that standpoint. I love the route combinations. I mean, you see just a variety of different routes, getting him the ball, short, medium, down the field. All different kind of aspects. And yeah, this catch right here, this is what I went and watched last year when he was at Central Phoenix City. This is why I was so high on him. This is the ability right here. You see all the potential, and I want to say this, Blake. This team, and I know when you're winning and you're up by a lot, it's easy to do, but it's almost like you can look at this team and tell when they're having fun and when they're scared shitless. And they didn't have to be scared shitless Saturday. I mean, you're playing ULM and you were up from the get-go, so whatever. But, like, the dancing and all that kind of stuff, like, there's just a difference in this team from times. And you can see when they tighten up and you can see when they're having fun. And I think Cam Coleman, who, from the little bit that we've seen in his freshman year of him, goofy, silly, and I mean that in a positive way. Looks like he's a fun person to be around. I think he needs to be one of the guys because you talk about this all the time, Blake, where the leaders got to be the good players. That's there. I'm not gonna name the name. There are some people that have been leaders on Auburn's team for 8 years that ain't made a play in 8 years, and those guys, it just falls on deaf ears at some point. So Cam Coleman, like, you be that guy to make that play and set the tone. Do the dance. Do the indeed. Make everybody have a good time. Set the tone. Make that sideline. Get everybody dancing and jumping around. And I think he did that. And this Auburn team needs to play loose. They need to have fun playing football. And I think that Cam Coleman, on top of his ridiculous physical abilities, which he put on display Saturday, one of the best catches we've ever seen at Auburn, I think he can also, I think that's a role that he can play. It's not basketball. There's not going to be a Kobe Bryant, a LeBron James, a Michael Jordan, a Jabari Smith that'll come in there and they're the voice, right? There's 85 guys on the roster. And you need multiple leaders, and they don't all have to be the same. You need your guys that lead by example. You need your guys that are tough and hard-nosed and, hey, this is how we're doing things. And you need some guys that can just cut up a little bit and have some fun. Still know when to be serious, but just relax and play ball type guys. And I think that Cam Coleman can play that role on top of, hey, look what happens when you actually throw the kid the damn ball.
Yeah, a dog, a guy that, like you said, Dustin, I see him having fun still. I see him out there dancing. I see him out there dapping up his teammates and, still hustling. And there might be some things that he still got to get under his belt. He still got to learn. He is a true freshman, y'all. All right? He is a true freshman. Some guys, it may take a little longer. All right? And the blocking, earlier in the season, I get it, right? I get it. There were some times where we were like, man, Cam, come on.
Yeah.
It might take a little bit, but you're still seeing what the guy can do now. You're seeing the talent now. That's NFL stuff, man. That catch is insane. That's NFL. This kid has a bright future. Get him the ball. Get him the ball. He's that guy. He's your playmaker. I'm excited to see his career at Auburn. Hopefully it's not a one and done and somewhere else. I think he gives it one more year. I hope so. And like I said, I don't think he come here to play with Peyton Thorne. And I think you got to go get somebody to keep him on this roster. You have to impress Cam Coleman to say, hey, come back, please. We want to get a gunslinger in here to get you the football. So I'm impressed with him, man. And look, as far as Perry Thompson goes, y'all, I want to say this, Dustin, is because everybody just keeps Perry. Okay, yeah, Jordan. Look, my thing is Perry is still learning the process, man. Perry is still on the grind, okay? He's still getting things under wraps. He also has an absolute dog playing in front of him.
Yeah.
He has an absolute dog. I was scrolling through TikTok the other day. Perry pops up on my thing. First comment, bro, please don't leave Auburn. Like, I know you ain't getting the touches that you deserve, but why aren't you getting those touches? I commented, and I was like, bro, this ain't even my TikTok, but I'm responding to this dude. Click, here we go. I said, because he has a guy named KLS in front of him. It happened, y'all. Like, KLS is a dog. We didn't know how good KLS was going to be either, right? Yeah. We didn't know KLS was going to come in here and compete for a 1,000-yard season. We thought maybe that Perry might take him up midway throughout the season. I heard also, I don't know how true this is, but Perry's been dealing with some injuries here and there, and some weeks it's been a little slow for him. So it's just, there's things that go on, man. It's year one for Perry Thompson. I think Perry's locked in. I hope so. Nobody knows for sure, right? But I think this team, if they stay together, Dustin, and they get a solidified quarterback out of that transfer portal, I think this team could be dangerous if you keep this team together, re-recruit your roster, man. Bring this team home, and then bring in this class that you're about to bring in. The future's bright, man. We just got a couple of things to clean up. And if we can do that in game before halves and things like that, and we'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are still freshmen. Like,
yeah,
Bryce Cain's a good football player. He's going to be a good football player. He's a freshman, and like you and like Jordan making the point there about KLS, it's just, what are you gonna do? And Auburn still threw the ball to Perry Thompson 3 times, all in the end zone. And he didn't come down with him, but it's not like there wasn't a concerted effort to get him a touchdown. Mm-hmm. So I mean, Auburn knows, and they're trying. And yeah, I just, even. There are guys that have successful seasons at schools. What's the kid, the receiver for Bama last year, that transferred to Texas?
Yeah, Bomb.
Like, yeah, you never would have seen. You never would have guessed that. Like, you were being utilized. They were throwing you the ball, and you were having success, and he still transferred. So it's just kind of it's a new thing. So I understand everybody's angst. You're looking at a guy that was just a big, highly touted guy. What was it? A Big Cat Weekend. He throws you in the pool. It was his whole thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so I understand, and I share a lot of you guys' fear. But that's part of it. And I think that, like you said, you go out and you get a guy. And on the point of KLS, I was thinking about this, and you can apply this to Perry Thompson, though. Hugh can now take KLS's season and use it as a recruiting tool.
Yep.
So when he wants to go get a big playmaker out of the portal this year, he can say, hey, look what I just did. I went and got a guy from Penn State, a good program that wins 9-10 games every year. He had a solid season last year, 600-something yards. Good year, 5 touchdowns or whatever it was. I brought him here, and we improved on that. even in a system that's been helter skelter, even in a system where we've been changing quarterbacks, and then he can fall back on the AJ Browns and his whole history of wide receivers. So
Yep.
like he can use this and say, look, I still have a receiver every year that has big numbers,
Yep.
and he can tell that to Perry as well. Like, hey, bro, this is your role next year. Like, this is your role next year. You do the things you got to do, and me and you watched Perry a lot last year, and he played every single position. So it's just kind of it's one of them things where it's like, man, let's give him a year or two to focus on playing wide receiver. We all know that there's issues in the system, and like, so I just and I agree with you, Jordan. I hope that he hangs in there. I hope that he stays. Same thing with Cam and all those guys. I really hope
Yep.
that, and if Auburn can win one of these two games, I think it'll just. We'll talk about this more on Thursday, but I just think that it would do wonders for roster retention. Even if you finish 5-7, if you just win one of these games, finish 5-7, you could look back and say, man, we gave away most of our losses.
Yep.
Like you could spin it a certain kind of way and you can sell it.
I told you 2 weeks ago, if we beat A&M or Alabama and get to 5-7, I'm going to kick myself for the way the first half of the season went, because you just handed the season away. If you get to 5-7, you look back at Cal, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. There's your path to 8.
Even if you wanted to go super conservative, you could at the minimum this win versus ULM should have been your bowl eligibility.
Yep.
You should be
For
six and
sure.
four. Like even if you wanted to say, "Hey, young team, you're going to lose some games." Like if you want to go that way, this one should have been 6. You should be 6-4, and
Yep.
then looking at these final two, like, "Hey, can we get one of these and get to 7?" But the bowl should be locked up. I want to get to some of his comments before we get out of here. We know that Ike, I believe it'll be Ike over there at the War Report. Somebody from the War Report. If it's not Ike though, go. They'll be doing the pregame stuff soon for the basketball game. They'll be doing Lob Town post game after the basketball game. SEC Network tonight, right? We're on regular SEC Network. It's not Plus or ESPN Plus or anything.
I believe so.
Okay, so yeah, so we got basketball 8 o'clock. Top 5 team. Going to get to some of you comments, guys, and then we're going to get out of there. Be sure to go over, follow our guys at the War Report for all of that content. I will be on a lot of the post games for basketball this year. Not going to be on the one tonight for the 8 o'clock tip when I've got work. I got to clock in at work at 5 o'clock in the morning. Who the hell tips a basketball game off on a Monday in Auburn, Alabama at 8 o'clock? Who did this? Who did this? Dumb. When I saw the start time, Blake, I was like, are we in a neutral site somewhere versus North Alabama? Like, what the hell?
When I seen CBM posted today, I was like, damn, we play at 8 o'clock. I was like, God.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, and then I was thinking, I was like, it's got to be Eastern time and 7 Central. No, it isn't. Real quick, man, I just don't want to like let this go. I did when we were talking about the 0 penalties. Shout out to the officiating crew. I give refs crap all the time. They called 0 penalties on us. They called only 2 on ULM. It was nice for y'all just to get the hell out the way and let us play some football. Brett says, War Eagle from Auburn, Alabama, here to see Bruce and the boys. Our guy Brett is in Neville. He's in the building. Shout out to you, Brett, man. You big time supporter of the show, and I hope that you and the family get to see a big dub tonight. Thomas says, I love seeing some of these underclassmen on the O-line playing. Get them on the field, and let's get ready to build a stable. Yeah, Thomas, I know you're the big O-line guy, and like you, I am excited for these young pieces that are on the team, finally getting reps. Braden Joyner's a good example. Excited to see what DeAndre Carter could bring to the table. And then I'm telling you, we got a guy coming in Ty Buster, and then we got a guy coming in Broderick Scholl, who are real. There's something in Tavares died. We got some guys. We can hold on to all these guys, which I think we're going to be able to. We got some guys coming in. So, yeah, Thomas, really excited for this O-line. Good to see them being physical, getting after it down there in the trenches. Connie says, Blake, you stayed out of jail with the whole dog situation?
Yeah, if you know me personally, you know there's some things that are going on in my personal life. So with custody of my daughter, so the last thing that I can do right now is go to jail. So yeah.
Had to be an adult there.
Yeah.
Thomas with the War Eagle Auburn Dads in here. War Damn Eagle up tempo. Let's go. Thomas says, get to see an upbeat up tempo tonight. Thomas, that's all up to Auburn, baby. That's all up to Auburn. Hey, if they want to win games 48-14, we're gonna have good shows. And you know me and Blake's rule, we don't care who they beat. If they win a game, we're gonna come on here and talk it up because wins are hard to get. But if they blow game after game after game, well, those post game reactions might not be the best. Connie with the War Eagle. Teresa says, I did a spreadsheet, and did you know that A&M hasn't beat any of the top 6 teams? At least that's how I remember it. It's possible to win this game. All of Texas A&M's wins were to bottom 7 teams. Yeah, I mean, Teresa, that 2.5 point spread, there's a reason for it.
Their quarterback situation. That says a lot. Can Auburn, we'll talk about it Thursday, but can Auburn withstand their D-line and their front 7? Can Auburn's offensive line give Peyton Thorne time to throw the ball? Can Peyton not turn the ball over against that Texas A&M defense? And I'm sure DJ Durkin will have something spicy for that Texas A&M offense. So
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Come on, offense. Find a way to get to 21, damn it. Find a way to get to 21. Brett says, Blake, I just finished a Buc-ee's brisket sandwich. Listen, Brett is like at this point, he's either inside Neville or right outside Neville, and he's pounding Buc-ee's briskets. My man, did you get some of that chocolate fudge with the M&Ms in it? Bro, I make bad decisions. I make bad decisions in Buc-ee's now. Thomas says, if Dustin and Blake were Heisman voters, who would be y'all's pick for Heisman and Coach of the Year? I almost put up a thing today for Coach of the Year. I'm not final yet. Let's see how this ends out. Both of these coaches I'm about to name got 2 big games at the end of the season. Right now, for me, it's either Shane Beamer or Mike Elko.
My Coach of the Year is Kurt Cignetti, and it's not close.
National, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just think SEC.
Yeah, that's how I took it. But Shane Beamer, great pick. Mike Elko, I think he was handed a little bit more than you know.
Yeah.
But we'll that's for another day. But Cignetti, Coach of the Year, National Coach of the Year, hands down. Got Indiana to where they're at right now. Absolutely insane to think about. That's a basketball state, always will be. And Dustin, I'll give you my Heisman right here, and it's not close. I'm tired of hearing Genty from Boise State because it is over. It's a wrap. Travis Hunter is the best player in college football. It is not close. The way he plays both ways, we can discuss, is he the best receiver or whatever. We can go down that route. But best player, Travis Hunter, hands down. Ridiculous on a football field, can change the game like his coach used to back in the day with one snap. That's it, man. Dude is elite. Give him the Heisman. I don't need to see anything else. Even if Colorado were to lose, I think he's that much better than everybody else out there. And, good run for Genty and being in the G5 and all that. Me personally, I just think it's really hard to give a guy the Heisman who is in the G5 and they're playing against lesser competition week in and week out. Now, I know he went off against Oregon,
right,
but that's not week in and week out.
Right.
You had one game, 1 week, and then everybody else on the back half of that was Hawaii and Wyoming and all that. Like, I don't care about all that, but that's where I sit.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. What Travis Hunter has done, both sides of the ball, super unique. You don't see it a lot for a reason. So, unless anything crazy happens, he would be my pick. And now, I was thinking SEC, but that's just because I was thinking about doing a pod for the Just a Sec pod about SEC Coach of the Year. So that's where my but definitely Indiana. And then Thomas makes a point here, Deion Sanders. And look, I will stand right here. I'm not scared to admit this. I'll raise my hand. I was wrong. I said Colorado was going to fall flat on their face and go like 4-8, 5-7. I was incorrect.
Yep.
Deion Sanders took over a program that has won one game.
Yep.
First year they won 4, 3-game improvement. This year they're sitting there at 8-2, in position to play for the Big 12 championship and get a playoff spot. I stand corrected on prime time. I was wrong. So far.
I'll tell you this, all right, even if they don't make it to the playoffs or the Big 12 championship, whatever, it's still a hell of a year for them, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to somebody, I can't remember who it was, but a couple weeks ago, they were like, "Man, how do you feel about Colorado?" And he was like, "Well, Colorado, it's just like 5 good players, and everybody else is out there, and they're just really good at the skill positions, and that's about it. And they got Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders." I'm sorry, that's not true. They have gotten better. You can see the coaching working on that roster. Their D line has improved. Their offensive line still struggles at times. Shedeur has to run around and do a bunch of crazy backyard football, Johnny Manziel stuff, but it has gotten better. All right, it's progressed slightly. Their secondary has gotten better. They're not giving up 40 points a game anymore. Like they're making things happen over there. And I raised my hand with you, man. I gave Dion a lot of BS last year, and I'm here to say I apologize, man, because I doubted you. I doubted your ways of recruiting. And, I'll be the first to say it. I thought the portal thing was kind of weird, and I didn't know where you were taking it. But, hey, hell of a job, man. You got those dudes playing, and he could definitely be up for Coach of the Year. I think he's done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, whenever you stand up to the microphone and say that I'm not going to do in-home recruiting visits,
Exactly.
I apologize if that jolted my entire system. It's just just a little bit different than
He
what
said,
I'm
"You're
used
going to come see me. I'm not coming to see you." I was like, "Brother, this guy's never going to make it."
Yeah. Yeah, not what we're used to. But hey, man, he's doing a great job. Madison says DJ about to put the SEC on notice. May not happen this season, but scary defense is coming back to the Plains, from lockdown corners to sneaky fast punishing linebackers and nasty D linemen. Just nasty night, huh, Madison?
I'll tell you this. I talked to Toodle Main today,
Did you?
and we were talking about how Shadarius is excited about DJ, and DJ come and visit him and all this, and like he was talking about when they got to talk and everything, and his plan for Shadarius and all that good stuff. Man, I think Shadarius fits what DJ wants to do, and the one spot on DJ Durkin's defense that I think has to get better is linebacker play, and what better kid than Shadarius to make that happen, man? The Tootle family, shout out to him, a bunch of hard workers, bro. And his little brother is a freshman at Cottage Hill and lit the damn city on fire this year. I know they didn't win a lot of games, y'all, but that's because it's really hard to get some talent stacked up at that school. So, but they're two dudes that they put on a show this year.
Yeah, I think when the night that you went and watched Shadarius, I think he had like 18, 19 tackles.
Yeah.
So yeah, just if you look at what DeMarcus Riddick is doing and you can envision Shadarius in that role, definitely can get excited. Talking about the catch, Cam Coleman catch, how can you defend that catch? Just NFL type crazy. You can't. There's nothing you can do. And that's what Cam Coleman brings to the table. So we just got to keep throwing him the ball. Keep throwing him the ball in all kinds of different ways. It doesn't have to be a 55-yard shot down the field every time. And I'm not even going to try to say your username, brother. Play loose. You don't have anything to lose. You got plenty to gain. Absolutely. Me and Blake been screaming that for a couple weeks on here. Like, come on, man. Like this. Because Hugh was said in the post game, the Oklahoma game specifically, he mentioned like, hey, we get tight. We get tight. And me and Blake's whole thing was like, why? Like, why? You're not okay, if Georgia doesn't get tight down 10 early in the game versus Tennessee, knowing they can't lose, they haven't had a 3-loss season in forever. Imagine all the pressure that was on Georgia. Second half, let's go. So if Georgia's not going to get tight with everything to play for and everything to lose, that's the mindset I got to see Auburn's program get to. We're just playing football, and when you don't have anything to lose, that's when it's, and that kind of comes back to the point I've been making forever about it's a culture of losing, and you're just gonna have to win some big games to overcome it. You want to start tearing down that culture of losing and rebuilding it with a culture of winning. Let it be 17-17 at the start of the fourth quarter of this A&M game, and you come out on top 24-17.
Yep.
Then you start laying a different foundation. But that's the only way to do it. That's the only way to do it. Recruiting won't change that kind of. That you have to win the games in the moment to change that part.
Facts.
Tim the Toolman Taylor says Dustin getting blood, sweat, and tears for Auburn. No, so this was from Mother Nature. I'm just trying to help out. Yeah. I'm just trying to help out an animal. Cam says so was Eugene the weak spot on the defense because I don't see 9 on the field much. I just don't think he fits DJ's system. And me and Blake were talking about this weekend in texting about Keontae. Keontae just all of a sudden a bad player? Or does his skill set, which is kind of ironic, seeing how him and Ron Roberts didn't get along that well, does his skill set just match what Ron Roberts wanted to do? Same thing with Eugene. You see a system change, a scheme change, and you just see different guys. The defense is still successful, but you see different guys being successful in that defense. And yeah, Cam, I think it's more of just a scheme thing. I'm not sure if Eugene fits DJ Durkin's system as well as he fit the other one.
Facts.
Got a couple more here. Again, our guy says, keep up the good work. We appreciate you. And Circa Surrealist says, boo, you fools are the fairest of fair weather fans. Yeah, man. I mean, we come on here, we're talking about a 4-6 football team hyping up their win over ULM. It ain't get any more fair weather than that. Me and Blake sit in the rain on Friday nights, 55-degree rain after working 40-hour weeks to cover high school commitments and promote them. Yeah. I've traveled from Pensacola up to Auburn to cover the baseball team and do all that kind of stuff. And, yeah, man, I mean, Auburn hasn't had a winning season in 4 years, yet we're on here promoting Auburn. So, yeah, it doesn't get any more fair weather than me, dude.
I'll tell you this, all right? I'm booking my trip to Dallas, Texas, to cover a baseball team that went 7-23 in SEC play last year. But you want to know why? Because I love them, and they kicked the season off in Dallas, Texas, playing 3 legitimate teams, and I want to be there to experience that. So, yeah, you can call me a fair weather fan or whatever. I can tell you that I watch Auburn every single day of my life. I talk about them every single day of my life. I go to work, and even at 4-6, I as soon as I walk through the door, I say, War, damn, Eagle, period, every single day. Don't matter. I wear my Auburn shirts to work. I get after it, all right? I get after it, man. I love them to death, no matter what. And I know Dustin feels the same way.
Yeah. Just scroll through my Twitter and you see just about as fair weather as it gets. I'm just out here promoting Auburn 15 times a day. Matt says, got the feeling Napier and the Gators are gonna beat Ole Miss. Let's go, dude. That would be fun, Matt. Add a little chaos. Look, dude. This lack of divisions is gonna make this SEC championship race wild. And yeah, man, if Napier is able to pull that off, that would be a lot of fun, and I would have a nice little chuckle. I had a nice little chuckle over there at Ole Miss. They're trying to take all our recruits, Matt. They're trying to take all of them, trying to take our quarterback, trying to take our 5-star edge. We can't let it happen. So, yeah, Billy Napier, man, show them, what's up. Jeff Tink says, up-tempo, and I see your comment there about your dog, brother. Hate to hear that, man. Praying for you and your family. No, that's tough. Guys, we are coming up on it, man. We're 27, 26, something like that, away from 2,000 subscribers. Please hit knock my mic over. I'm getting so excited, Blake. Please, man, subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button if you have not. We're going to go watch this basketball game. Go over there to the War Report. Check out our guys for the pregame, halftime, postgame, all that kind of stuff. And then we'll be back tomorrow. Going to do a basketball episode tomorrow, guys. Going to talk a little Auburn hoops. We'll be back tomorrow, your 7 p.m. Central Time Tuesday show like we always do. And then we'll be back Thursday with another live show to preview the A&M game as well. Got a couple of member pods this week. I want to take a look at Blake Woodby's film from his senior year, guys. This guy's taken a massive jump in the rankings. There's also a 4-star defensive lineman that is a teammate of his that I think that if this weekend goes well, that he might jump in the boat as well. So we got some stuff to talk about, so be on the lookout for that for our members. Got the film breakdown coming for the new 4-star top 40 power forward in the country. 6'8" stud. Blake, they told me Bruce Pearl wasn't gonna be able to get no recruits because he supported a political candidate and he just, it was done, said AL.com. Oh, I better shut up. I'm gonna get in
It
trouble.
no, it's stupid. It's stupid. It's lazy. All right, and honestly, y'all, before we get out of here, I'll say this: I don't want any part of that in journalism. Okay, I think you need to keep that far away from journalism. Let's talk about sports when it comes to journalism. Let's not get into politics. And I'll say this thing too. Okay, I'll say this, and this is the only thing you're ever going to hear me talk about politics on this podcast. But tonight, I feel like it needs to be said. When you mock Jesus Christ
Mm.
and you talk down on him, there's a reason why you get blown out in an election and it's not close. Is because majority of America believes in Jesus Christ. So stop doing it. All right. Stop doing it. Seriously. Like this AL.com. All right. Another thing. You talk about Bruce and who he supports politically. Who cares, y'all? Who cares? He took his team overseas. He cares about Jesus Christ. He cares about those things. He cares about his religion. He voted for a man who told us that Christ was king. It is okay that he supports Donald Trump. That is his belief, just like everybody else has their belief. I do not care if you voted for Kamala Harris. I'm not going to hate you. I'm not. We can still sit down and be friends. We can watch the Auburn Tigers, and I will never look at you and say, hey, man, I hate your guts because you voted for Kamala. Never. One of my best friends voted for Kamala. Do we disagree? Yeah, we do. We disagree. But that's your belief, and I'm okay with that. That's how it is, man. He's a basketball coach. You know what he truly cares about? I can tell y'all this. He don't care about skin color, okay? Because he's a basketball coach, and he cares about them kids. That's what he cares about. He don't care about skin color. He cares about them kids, dog, and he loves them kids, and he treats them like his own. Did Jabari Smith care that Bruce Pearl supported Donald Trump, Dustin? No, he didn't. Did Isaac Okoro care? No, he didn't. Did Samir Dowdy care? No, he didn't. Did Jared Harper care? No, he didn't. Did Bryce Brown? No. All right. Did Walker Kessler care? No, none of them cared.
Todd Pettiford, 5-star All-American.
None of them cared. White, black, whatever. It didn't matter. So I think it's lazy for AL.com to ask that question. I think it's lazy and it's poor journalism, honestly. It's something that ticked me off. I know it ticked you off. Oh, yeah. And I had to say it, man. And that's the last thing you'll ever hear me talk about politics or anything. I know it's Auburn sports, but it just really pissed me off when I saw that on Twitter. And I said, this is a freaking joke, man. It's a joke. So it's got to come to an end and stop attacking our coach because he supports something. Who cares what Bruce puts on Twitter? It's an app, man. Let it go. Don't follow it. It's just let it go. That's what he believes in, and he wants to voice his opinion, so let him do it.
Yeah. I mean, his views are not new to anybody. He's been that way since he got to Auburn. It hasn't affected any recruits at this point, and it's just not surprising that it's AL.com that did it. And listen, they treated Harsin extremely unfairly. They tried to do all kind of deep dives and write articles into his medical decisions and all that kind of stuff. Like the guy didn't want to get some random shot that you just made. He didn't trust it, and guess what? I didn't either, and I didn't get it, and I'm not dead. I'm perfectly fine. My whole family is. Everybody's great. They're a clown media organization, man. If you remember, like a year ago, I put up the poll asking should AL.com have access to Auburn sports, and it got like 2,000 votes, and it was 94% of the people that voted said no. Like it's a resounding, and everyone is sitting there asking basketball questions. And that's the question you ask, and I everything you said I agree with. So I'll attack it from this standpoint. If you're covering Auburn basketball, and the question you ask the head coach if his political beliefs are going to affect the recruiting for your program moving forward. No, and if you cover the program, you should have known that within 10 days, Auburn was going to get 2 4-star recruits. Blake, me and you knew it.
Yep.
Our members knew it. We told them. Yep. But this AL.com person didn't know that. Either you're not good at your job. Could be that. Or you have an agenda you're trying to push because your butt hurt that something didn't go your way. And you're going to be okay. Everybody's going to be okay. Like Blake said, we can all sit down. We can all have a different religion. We can all have different political beliefs because we've all walked a different path. So everything's going to be all right. It's the Auburn family. We're united underneath that War Eagle umbrella and all this other stuff, attacking a coach, fans attacking each other over personal beliefs. It doesn't do anybody any good, man. And I'm going to tell y'all this right now. If you are one of those people, because I know some of y'all are watching because y'all been in my mentions, you got a problem with it, I got news for you. Bruce Pearl's going to keep getting good players.
Yeah.
Bruce Pearl's going to keep winning games at Auburn. So if you don't like it, quit paying attention. Because Bruce Pearl's one of the best coaches in the country, and good players are going to want to play for him. And he's got guys from Auburn in the NBA. So guess what's going to happen? Good players are going to continue to play for him. And that's just what it is. So if it upsets you, just quit paying attention. Because we're going to win over here, and we're going to keep recruiting at an elite level. We will be back tomorrow. Let's go get this dub. Go over to the War Report. Get the pregame. Get the postgame. Big basketball win. We feel like, I'll knock on one here to make sure that I don't jinx anything. Karen with the gifted memberships at the buzzer. Buzzer. Full court. All net. Karen, we see you. We appreciate you. War Damn Eagle, guys. Love y'all. Every one of y'all, man, y'all are the best. Let's get to 2,000. I want to be to 2,000, Blake, before the end of the month. I know we can do it. We're less than 30 away. Let's get there, guys. Listen, me and Blake have built this thing from the ground up. We've put a lot of work and a lot of effort into this. Like Blake's, told you about his dog, and just life happens and all this, and we still try to carve out the time to put this content out for you guys. So 2,000 would really mean a lot to Blake. Me and Blake, we've worked really hard on this. So get us there, man. We love y'all. We cannot thank y'all enough. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time. It's War Damn Eagle, baby.
War Damn.